families, creating a lifetime of memories. Sadly, some families are denied these important moments due to the sad practice of alienation. These are families divided.
Hello, and welcome to this week's edition of Families Divided. I'm Elaine Cobb, your host. I'm also founder and president of Family Access, Fighting for Children's Rights.
At Victor's Crown, our focus is on you, our clients. When you arrive, our goal is that you will feel at home, from our welcoming atmosphere to our serene surroundings. Everything we do at Victor's Crown is done with our clients in mind. We have comfortable seating areas for both adults and children. A large screen TV with surround sound where clients can be occupied with wholesome entertainment while they wait. We offer complimentary refreshments such as coffee, tea, water, and snacks. Due to the present COVID pandemic, our in-person appointments are restricted to selected cases, and those are held in our luxurious outdoor open-air meeting space that we affectionately refer to as the COVID Cabana, which was built specifically for our clients to offer them the most comfortable and relaxing outdoor space available. All our other clients are offered secured web-based telemed sessions where they can connect with us from anywhere in the world.
Hello, and welcome to this panel segment of Families Divided. Today, I will be talking with Dr. Golly about the psychology of the alienated child. Some of you may have learned about parental alienation from prior episodes. So during this panel, we're going to be talking about how alienation affects the children. Welcome, Carol. It is a pleasure to have you here today.
Thank you very much, Dr. Murray. It's a pleasure to be here with the Families Divided segment today.
Great. Well, let's just jump right in. Could you please briefly share with us the phenomenon of parental alienation?
Certainly. So parental alienation is something that we normally see in the context of a divorce. It can happen during marriage, but it's generally in a divorce or post-divorce where a child is turned by one parent against the other parent through a kind of strategies that involve what we call brainwashing and programming. And it's creates the impression that one of the parents, which is a rejected parent, is dangerous or not safe or crazy. And this is the messaging that the child receives. So it is often used to kind of gain favor in custody decisions, or just to vent the anger of a favored parent, which it can be referred to also as the alienating parent. And it doesn't make sense because the justification for the negativity is not realistic. These parents, pass a lot of information on to the children, encouraging them to reject the rejected parent. And so in severe situations, the child, or moderate to severe situations, the child can completely reject visiting the rejected parent. And it's very sad because it's very difficult to intervene in these situations. And it seems to be more common because we believe that there could be about 11 to 15% of divorces which end up in this situation.
Wow, well, those statistics and those realities are just startling. And for anybody that is just recently joining us today, I think that gives them a good foundation from which to springboard the rest of this conversation. And so, Carol, as we look at parental alienation, can you share with our viewers, what does this type of parental interaction, what are the effects that this has on a child?
Yes, they're very serious, these effects. They have the same effects of any other type of child abuse, and parental alienation is widely accepted as being a form of child abuse. So the research shows that the psychological damage can depend on a number of factors, including the child's age, the intensity of the alienation, the length of time for which it continues, and also if there is, it depends if there's ever a termination to the alienation, because sometimes they're not, and it's a lifetime, sadly, a lifetime issue. It also depends on the internal resources and resiliency of the child, because we know that some children can be more prone to the effects of alienation, and because of inner resources, some children, perhaps in the same family, are sometimes better able to resist. But there is a price paid to children when they are put in the middle of such manipulation, sadly. And these effects can be both cognitive or in their thinking, and it can also be in their emotional development. And so infants and toddlers are too young to really understand what's happening with brainwashing and programming, but they can react to the emotional climate in the home. So in other words, if there's a great deal of anger in one of the homes and negativity towards one of the parents, that even young children feel that. They may not understand it, but they can feel it internally, and that can have effects on their development that are quite negative. And so children need healthy connections with both parents to develop appropriately and to be able to relate relationship-wise to the world the rest of their lives. So these healthy attachments are very important. And if a child is prevented from attachment with a formerly loved parent, that is very, very damaging. And a child in that case may withdraw more into themselves and give up their tasks of childhood, which for young children are things like learning their place in the social world, learning how to make friends, being able to control their bodies more with toilet training and gross motor skills, and those kind of things can be affected. Speech and language can be affected, and it can cause delays in those areas. For older children, such as adolescents, it can affect their self-sufficiency in life because they may stay overly dependent on a parent who is the favored parent. In other words, the alienating parent, because they become very dependent on that person, much like a cult. It's hard for them to meet the task of individuating and become their own person in cases where they're very dependent on the favored parent. Also, adolescents are learning to get along in the world and make decisions about career and relationships. And I know that I worked as a child therapist and with children from really a year up to about 18. And when I first started seeing these cases, these kinds of situations, it was very disturbing. And one thing I really noticed was the teenagers were so dependent on the person perpetrating the alienation that they would sleep in the same bed with them. They could not individuate and leave for college. They were unable to really become their own person. So that's very handicapping and very serious in life. Also, a child's view of their parent can be very rigid. It's very fixed thinking about the rejected parent. And these are parents that were formerly loved by the child. There's evidence that they were really close at one time. You can see that from their pictures and that sort of thing, and from what the rejected parent described and other family members described. But children in these situations come to see the rejected parent is all bad and the favorite parent is all good. And that's not normal. It's healthy in relationships to see good and bad in people. That teaches us to be accepting of other people in our lives and be successful in our families and work environments. So the black and white thinking is very damaging to children.
Yeah. So it sounds like, Carol, it sounds like what is a small, in comparison to somebody's rest of their life, what is a small event, a divorce, right? Because of the situation that the children get into, this becomes a lifelong millstone around, if you will, around the children's neck. It causes them significant difficulties that will last them beyond that 1 or 2 years that the divorce may be in process in the courts. This has the potentiality to change the very personage of the children into who they become and who they marry and what they become.
Yes, Dr. Murray, that seems to be the case. And the research on long-term effects of alienation on children is in its early stages, but we do know that there are long-term effects, and the manipulation of children's psychologically and emotionally can be linked to depression and antisocial behavior of the children later in life, because they're taught to be very cruel. They're extremely cruel to the rejected parent, and this teaches them that if you don't like somebody, you can just cut them off, and if they displease you, you can act in cruel manners. There have been some studies and also reports of adult children who were alienated when they were younger, who report that it affected them in fairly serious ways, that they suffered anxiety, depression, difficulty with relationships, maintaining relationships. And then when they reached milestones in their lives, such as they got married or they had children, or maybe they became alienated in their lives, they had come to realization of what happened to them, and it was quite devastating. And they realized they had difficulty maintaining relationships, and the cycle could be repeated with them. It's some indication that it could be intergenerational, and the cycles can continue for generations of being alienated. So that's very concerning and very sad.
Yeah, so it sounds like alienation really hones the skills of an antisocial personality, if you will. And even if they don't get the personality disorder, they get the traits of the personality disorder that are really well defined for them as they practice them through the permission of the authority figure that's supposed to be the gatekeeper against these things.
Yes, that's true. These children become just devoted to the alienating parent because they fear loss of love from that parent. They feel sympathy for that parent, and they want to, in some cases, almost caretake that parent. And so they become afraid to show any love or approval of their other parent, which is the rejected parent, who in most cases really didn't do anything wrong. They don't understand why they become rejected. And so these are very serious consequences for families and for the children. And you're correct that there is association with personality disorders tending to become alienating parents, and then perpetrating moderate to severe alienation on their own children, and teaching them a lack of empathy. So these are really serious consequences of this phenomenon.
Wow, that is just over the top, as some of our audience may be thinking about, like, wow, for the root of bitterness and resentment and through the striving to have revenge on somebody, the child literally becomes the sacrificial lamb for this plight that this person has in life to go and cause destruction on the other parent.
Yes, that's very true, because people with personality disorders lack insight. So they may take, say, a court-ordered parenting class that is often required in divorce in many states. I think most states, all states probably, which can be helpful for somebody to learn that it's very damaging to children to be put in the middle and to be turned against another parent. But a parent with a personality disorder lacks insight into their behavior, and they're not as concerned with using their children in this way, because everything becomes about them, and they're wanting to punish the other parent for whatever wrongs they feel, whether it's the divorce or
Yeah.
other
So
things.
I guess what I hear you saying is because these parents have a lack of insight, even if they do take the parenting courses, they don't even recognize that it's them that are doing these things or that need the course.
Yes, that's true, and they don't tend to listen to professionals, because in some cases, therapists such as myself or other child therapists or family therapists, or even people that do parenting evaluations for custody decisions, it's very tricky, because they're only interested in convincing the child and anybody working with the family that the rejected parent is bad. And if you try to help the child become more critically thinking and problem solving and looking at these things more realistically, the rejecting parent, the favorite parent will just up their game and really, really continue to put pressure on the child even more severely. And they will fire therapists or other people that are more neutral in trying to help the family and assist them.
Sure.
Just to back off.
So we have about maybe 30 seconds left, Carol. What is some parting things that you could share with our audience in the next 25 seconds?
Well, if you are a rejected parent, never give up. We know many cases of reunification. There's help through support groups. This is not your fault. It can drive you crazy and into acting in ways that can kind of get you in a little trouble, because this is not normal. It's not normal parenting. There's a lot of information out there on the Family Access Fighting for Children's Rights website, and there's a lot of support available. And don't give up, because your children don't want you to. Deep inside, they don't want you to ever stop loving them, and they need you.
Divorce and co-parenting are a major life interruption for families, especially the kids, but also for parents and grandparents. And it's even worse in blame-filled, high-conflict cases. When parents engage in alienation by turning the kids against the other parent or grandparents, kids suffer. They're denied the opportunity to build the 4 big skills necessary for future resilience. New Ways for Families online class can help. Parents learn to use our popular BIF and EAR skills to calm the conflict and stop the hostile emails and texts. And we even have a class for kids and parents to learn together. Research shows a 75% improvement in joint parental decision-making after this course is taken, plus overall improvements for kids' well-being. Don't wait to make this affordable investment in your children's future and improve your well-being too. Start learning new ways for your family today at conflictplaybook.com.